Good morning, everybody out there on the web. This is Doug Grant, K1DG, Chairman of WRTC2014. It's a little bit after 11 o'clock on Monday morning. We've had the contest. The contest has been over since yesterday morning. What you see on the live scoreboard behind me is the final result, the final standings as of the logs as submitted. We had a little problem with one of the logs not reporting correctly on the real-time scoreboard, so we had to do a little massaging when we got it back here and reformat it, and it turned out that that team was the team of K9VV and VE3EJ, and when we had their score corrected and got their multipliers in the log, they are standing in 4th place before log checking. And their score is not too far behind the 3rd place team. So looking at the scoreboard on the raw scores unchecked, the number 1 team looks like they have a pretty comfortable lead. Number 2 looks like they're in pretty good shape, but log checking can make a big difference, especially if a few multipliers come out. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and maybe 6th are in a pretty tight squeeze. So it'll be interesting to see what happens through the log checking process. Now, those of you who may not do a lot of contest operating, what happens is when the logs are all submitted, each contact is checked against the other contacts. So for example, if K1DG claims that he's had a contact with N6TR, both logs are examined to make sure that N6TR has a contact logged with K1DG at the same time. If there's no matching contact, then we can assume that no contact took place. If N6TR has in his log K1BG, which sounds like K1DG but is obviously incorrect, then N6TR's log loses credit for that contact, and K1DG keeps credit because he had copied N6TR's call sign correctly. Sorry if I'm going too fast there, but what's important is that the contacts have to match. If I say I talk to you, you need to say you talk to me. Now, we did a lot to encourage people to submit their logs, and by the time we started the log checking, we had over 2,600 logs from outside the WRTC area of other people who were in the IARU contest and who were contacting our stations and contacting each other. So we were able to cross-check quite a few of the contacts. We also do a few other things. For instance, if K1DG claims a contact with XY1Z, and no one else in the entire contest from those 2,600 logs or any of the 59 logs here has a contact with XY1Z, then we look at that and say that's a unique call sign. Maybe there's a mistake there, and we try and look for calls that are similar, and we call that a busted call if, for example, we find that there's an XZ1Z and a lot of people contacted that and the guy was on that same band at that same time. So we're able to do a lot of very close checking of the logs to really determine who had the most accurate log and to determine the correct order of finish. We certainly don't want to give an award to someone whose log was had a few more mistakes in it than someone else, and that they got to the place by miscopying call signs. We want to make sure that the order of finish is correct. So we've been working on that. The log checking team started yesterday around 1 in the afternoon when all the logs were received. They've been working on it, going through iterations. They went to about 3 o'clock this morning. Then they still had a few things that they needed to look at. They went to bed for a couple of hours and they resumed at 6. So they finished the log checking just in time for the deadline. I had to go to the engraver to tell them what we needed on the plaques and get that done by 9 o'clock this morning, so they'll be ready for the dinner tonight. So I can announce that we have winners. We have determined who will win the gold, silver, and bronze medals. We have determined who had the highest number of phone or single sideband contacts while also having 35% of their contacts on CW. We have the winner for the most CW contacts for a team that also had 35% of their contacts on the other mode, on single sideband. We have determined which station had the highest combined multiplier. We've determined which team has the most accurate log. We have all those awards ready. We'll be announcing them tonight at the award ceremony after the dinner. Dinner is at 7 o'clock tonight, and it's, I think, sold out. You might try, if you're watching on the web and you want to try and get a ticket, you can call in and see what we can do for you. But send an email to K1AR at WRTC2014.org. If you're in the area and you'd like to attend but the dinner is sold out, you can come a little bit later. The award ceremony at 8 o'clock will have at least some standing room, and you'll be able to come in and see who won the gold, silver, and bronze. And right here on the web, you'll be able to see it. We'll be streaming the dinner. We'll be streaming the award ceremony. So even though you're not here, whether you're just down the road or on the other side of the world, you can be part of the excitement here at WRTC 2014. It's been a terrific event. We had 3 goals going in. We wanted to have a fair contest, and I believe we've accomplished that. All the teams had sites that they were very happy with. The log checking has been very objective. Some very interesting stories have come out of that process, but I think we've executed on holding a fair contest. We wanted to have an outstanding social event for all these visitors from around the world. And between the teams themselves that are here, the referees, the judges, the committee, and all the volunteers that helped, I think we've established a huge number of new friendships and done a lot for the social program. As I'm speaking here in the lobby of the DoubleTree Hotel, a lot of our visitors are off on tours. Some have gone down to the historic Marconi site on Cape Cod. Some have gone to the U.S. Navy submarine base and museum in Groton, Connecticut. Some have just gone to Boston to knock around and see what Boston is all about. And it's a very nice day outside, so people are off on tour. But there are probably about 50 or 100 people sitting around the lobby talking and making plans for the next time they'll see each other, comparing notes on their stations and contests and so forth. So the social program's been extremely successful. The last thing we were trying to accomplish was our publicity. As we started going around asking people if we could use their sites for our competition, for a ham radio competition, the first question was, do people still do ham radio? And of course we would tell them, yes, there are more people with radio licenses now than ever before. And then they would say, well, how do you make a competition and a contest out of it? And we would explain that in 24 hours, teams would compete to see who could make the most contacts in the most countries. And all of the property owners we talked to thought that was a pretty cool thing. And now that they've seen it in action, they all agree that it's a cool thing. And we've also gotten enough interest from the press. We've been in most of the local newspapers, including the largest local newspaper, the Boston Globe. I think we'll be having some coverage. We've had some TV coverage. We've had an article in the Wall Street Journal. We have a book being written. We have a documentary video being prepared. So I think using this as a catalyst for more publicity and promotion of amateur radio in general and amateur radio contesting, radio sports specifically, I think we've accomplished that goal. So it's been a very successful week for us. All that's left is the award ceremony and dinner tonight and a lot of socializing afterwards. We'll leave the streaming on during the dinner and after, so you'll see all the famous contestants walking around, and you'll be able to see the winners hear their national anthem played and get a gold medal hung around their neck. And I can tell you from experience, it doesn't get better than that. So tune in a little bit later. This is K1DG 73.